Hello and welcome everyone to episode 5 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Brandon Bovia. I'm the English letterer for manga, like Kaiju number 8. Which had as of the time of the recording, the first print volume came out yesterday, so that's been pretty exciting. And I also work on Dragon Ball Super and Ayashimon, among many, many others.
It's kind of funny how early we're recording all these, just preparing for the launch of this actual podcast. It's funny talking about this 5 episodes in and being like, it's going to be a while till we get feedback. I'm looking forward to said feedback, but...
yeah, we'll see how things go.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll change and improve as time goes on. Just, you know, it's like a shonen arc. We got to find our way to get better. We got to go through that training montage and get our skills up and going.
Yeah, this is the training arc.
Exactly. We're just opening arc, laying the groundwork, and getting it all set. But before we, begin a new arc, we got to end the previous arc. And then we'll do that with chapter 21, Townies. And yeah, this is basically just a wrap-up chapter.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole lot to really say as far as Buggy. Like it actually is very strange to go from the previous one where Buggy gets launched and this one begins with Luffy going, "I win!
I win!" He's so happy.
He's just like, yeah, I'm cool. Good for me.
Buggy is just gone.
I know. He's
been
launched.
team rocketed.
It's beautiful. And he's like, okay, now you'll join my crew. And Lami's like, yeah, sure. Why not? Because, you got me some good treasure. You got 10 million berries worth from Buggy. You guys are going to make me tons of cash. So sure, why not?
Yeah, that's such a... I do love the sort of like, I'm going to team up with you because it's convenient for me. But, I think that's money is a good motivator here for Nami.
Oh, yeah. She's like, okay, he's a pirate, but he's an idiot and he's easy to control. I think I can make this work for me. And of course, Luffy has to inspect his hat. The real damage. We got all these bodies laid out on the ground.
And the shot of like everybody just down on the floor. I thought Zoro was bleeding out for a second, but that's just like his headband.
He should be bleeding out. There should be a lot more blood around
it's on the other side. I was like, oh, that's a lot of blood. Oh wait, no, that's just his headband.
Yeah, but the real thing to inspect here is his hat. The real damage there. And he's inspecting the hat, and he's like, well, it's not so bad. I guess I can still wear it. But it felt good to get revenge for it, so all good.
Yeah, the hat is the real casualty.
Yeah, the lackadaisical attitude kind of just carries over to Zoro, too. It's like, hey, pats him on the head, hey, wake up. It's a nice touch to see Zoro get up and have the swords almost at the ready. And he's like...
Oh, yeah.
It's like kind of prepared, like, okay, what's going on? Do I need to help? And like, no, I got it, and got the map, got the treasure. We're good. Zoro's still a little woozy. He can't really walk.
Yeah, wow, you think?
That's pretty much what Nami says, and I love the line. It's like, hey, don't lump me in with him.
Yeah, it's like, I can't believe either of you guys are human. Like, you're even less human than he is.
That is such good comedy. It was like Luffy just doesn't think he's weird.
Of course, yeah, it's all natural.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
It's just life. It's no big deal. And then the townspeople that we saw preparing finally arrive in town. And Nami's like, okay, they're here. We're going to just break it down. This is what happened. We'll tell you. And they notice the mayor's hurt, obviously blaming Buggy. And like Luffy immediately chips up. It's like, no, I did that.
Yeah, the brutal honesty of Luffy coming into sort of like, oh well, okay, this is what we have to deal with now. I think he is incapable of telling a lie or telling anything but the brutal truth.
Exactly, this man is just a truth teller. Luffy is completely unable to lie. I don't think we've seen him lie once in this series. Definitely not. Or just sort of take things at face value.
Yeah, he can't even hold his tongue to realize that telling the truth would make a situation far more convenient. And he's like, no, I knocked out the mayor.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was me. And now he's like, no, don't tell him that. It's like, wait, are you pirates? It's like, no, we probably should not tell him pirates. Oh, hey, we're pirates.
Yep. They're just like, pirates, get him.
Yep.
Zoro's just laughing at this whole thing.
Nami's holding on to the treasure for dear life, running off. Luffy is just smiling like an
dragging
idiot.
Zoro's unconscious body.
And he's just like, wait, hey, these are good people. They love their mayor. That's good on them. They honestly wouldn't care what we told them, so let's just go. And then we got the return of Chow Chow.
Yeah.
Good old Chow Chow.
This is just a bringing everything together. Having the dog
Just
help him
that
out.
little denouement that makes it that much better. It's like, oh, hey, Chow Chow did have a point. He's allowing them to escape. Good on him.
Yeah.
Just speaking of bringing things together, they get to the ship. They're ships, I suppose. They're two small boats. And the guys that Zoro ran into at the very beginning of this whole arc show up again, ready to get some revenge on Nami. And all that has to happen is... they're kind of taunting him. They pat Zoro in the head, and all he says is "ow," and they just run. They swim off.
Got that terrifying close up. They're just like, oh my god, yeah. What a way to bring this little arc completely full circle. Just start ending it as it began.
Pretty much, these guys lost at sea because they just ran off. I'm trying to think. Obviously it's been a long time since I've read a lot of manga, so I don't know if it's a common thing, but I don't think anybody has reaction shots quite like Oda.
They're they're on another level.
Yeah.
Just that this one panel of these three pirates all in like these strange, just exaggerated poses. It's just wonderful.
It just adds to the mood. Like I know a big talking point, especially for people getting into One Piece, is not a fan of the designs. And true, One Piece designs can be very strange, but it's one of those things where after a while I kind of stopped noticing it. It's just the style.
It's just a part of the world. Like it really, I don't think you could have One Piece like without how just exaggerated and cartoony the characters are. Like it just has such an effect on like the whimsical like world building.
There's a different feel to it. Like if it looked
it's
like
a part of the identity.
Dragon Ball or My Hero Academia or any other shonen, it wouldn't work in the same way, I think.
For sure.
Because you got the really goofy poses, and then you have this wonderful, just angry mayor pose or face when he finally does wake up and realizes that they took off and all the townspeople are saying bad things about Luffy. And it's just great. Again, exaggerated, but works so well in just the opposite way.
Yeah. The expressions are really effective at like, like if a character is sad, they're going to be really sad. If a character is scared, they're going to be really scared. In the case of the mayor, he's angry and, he's just got all of these lines on his face. His mouth's taking up like 2/3 of his head. Like it's just wonderful cartoony mastery.
Mm-hmm. And it just becomes effective because obviously I've seen this part before, so it's not too much of a surprise. But I think even if you are a first time reader and seeing how upset the mayor is and saying, "Hey, don't talk bad about them," takes off to kind of give him a piece of his mind. He got a thing or two to say. You don't think he's going to badmouth him at all. It's one of those things. It's like you kind of get a feeling it's similar to Kobe, but different to Kobe.
I think that is sort of maybe another sort of like quintessential One Piece is the end of arc roundup where they have to get chased out of town somehow.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they are pirates. And even though they solved the problem, they're also kind of the problem.
Yeah.
But you have like the big send off where like the character that they helped is just, bye, I'll never forget you. And that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And the mayor just realizing, like, I was desperate. Buggy definitely would have killed me. You saved me in the town. Just thank you. And it's heartwarming.
Yeah. Heartwarming is a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm. It's just a nice way to wrap up this little arc. These characters, you didn't spend much time with the mayor, but enough because of him and Chow Chow that you're just like, you know what? Good on him.
Yeah, it's a cute little story.
Mm-hmm. And then, again, showing off Luffy's kind side because he left the treasure.
Yep.
Although, it is notable to say, like, at first I wonder if it was a mistake because she said it's worth 10 million berries. And Nami says, I left 500,000 berries. That was 500,000 berries I handed to you. At first I thought she was trying to say I handed half of it to you. But then I realized, no, this is Nami. She definitely only handed him that little bit.
Yeah, even if she did say half, she probably didn't mean half.
No. It's definitely one of those things where, what would the odds on that be? Like, she took, 95% of the cut, 90% of the cut in that case?
Yep.
That sounds like Nami, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's just, even for that amount, she's ready to toss Luffy in the ocean.
Yep.
Oh, goodness. But there they have a good laugh. And then we get this ominous ending. Saying just like, little do they know that soon they'll have to face the trial of the forest. And I'm like, what is that?
An interesting little lead into the next chapter.
It really is, because it just seems to come out of nowhere and not really mean much. But as a wrap-up chapter, it does its job well. It provides enough of a reason for Nami to join. You kind of have the dynamics of the group at this point.
Yeah.
And, got the next adventure going. We're definitely getting into the groove at this point.
Yeah. We have Luffy, Zoro, and Nami all together, and now that they we have three characters who can kind of play off of each other really well. It sort of feels like the formula is establishing itself as we go along.
Yeah. And that brings us to chapter 22, Strange Creatures, which...
This is a weird chapter.
This is a weird chapter, indeed, because for most of it, I'd say it could honestly be considered filler. And I when I started reading, I was like, all right, this. And yeah, this is kind of filler.
Yeah, it establishes one important thing.
Yes.
But I feel like it could have been established at any other point in time.
Yeah, it feels like this is we need to have a rest. We can't just go into the next thing.
And yeah, I think that's fine.
Let's have a one-off adventure kind of thing. And
yeah.
It's fine for that. This is definitely not a favorite chapter of mine. But hey, Nami fixed Luffy's hat, where she sewed up the holes. And he's like, oh, you can't even tell. Poke, poke, poke. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, he's just, of course, just a kid poking at a scab.
Yeah, exactly.
Popped it. Oops.
It's just so good. And then she just stabs him in the face with a pin.
That's the only way that I can hurt you. That's great.
It's like, it's just the fact that he's like, oh yeah, you're right. Oh, all right.
Oh, and I feel like this one page is pretty much like this entire group's dynamic, just summed up.
Yeah. Zoro sleeping, Nami having to deal with Luffy.
Yeah. It's like, I cut the racket, I can't sleep. Sort of trying to babysit the kids.
Pretty much.
He's one of the kids.
The dad. But then we have the larger issue is like, oh, hey, we're hungry. Share your rations. And Nami's still just kind of amazed the fact it's like, don't you guys know anything? You have no food, no water. You got to respect the sea.
I love Zoro's like, we manage.
Yeah. Just chomping on some bread. It's like, we manage. And Luffy spots an island, and Nami's like, just skip it. It looks uninhabited. No reason to go there because no treasure. So why should she go?
Yeah.
But it's a chance for adventure, so Luffy's all for it.
Always looking for a chance to get somebody to join the crew.
That is funny. He's an uninhabited island, thinks, hey, maybe we can find a crewmate there. That's a strange line of thought, but all right, Luffy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure. Zoro's still sleeping. He's not really interested in exploring this island, so it's just another Luffy and Nami adventure. Yep. And that's when we get into, I guess, the strangeness of the island, where we get a fox chicken, a snake rabbit, and a lion pig. I feel like I'm in Avatar.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, you're right. Yeah, all the strange combinations of animals that are, I guess they're there to establish that this island is a little bit weird, but is also just like, that's weird. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, they don't really focus on it as much as the anime does, because even the chapter is called Strange Creatures, but these are the only three creatures we see.
Yep. Well, we've got one more coming.
That is true. I guess he is the strangest of all, and honestly kind of a nightmare when you really think about it. But let's talk about this other strange creature as we get this voice booming out. It's like, don't come no further. I'm the guardian of the forest. Leave this place. Asking if they're pirates, and Luffy's just sort of answering honestly. And Luffy also just knows something. He's like, oh, who cares? Why are you asking me all this stuff?
And I think any normal person would be afraid if the voice of the forest just started talking to you. If you just heard some disembodied, otherworldly voice trying to talk to you. He's just like, eh.
I will say though, if Luffy didn't have his powers, he'd be dead. Like, look.
Right? Yeah. The so-called voice of the Force is like, you must now face the trial. A gun.
Yeah, that is a trial. Just get shot. You can see where it's at. It's in his heart. He'd be dead if he wasn't a rubber man.
Yep.
I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, man, he was going for that killing blow. He wasn't trying to get rid of them. He was just trying to end them.
Seriously.
But we do learn that Luffy does not like getting shot because they scare him. Which, fair.
Yeah.
And then they discover a strange bush in a box that suddenly runs off.
And then said box just like trips over himself.
Yeah. Trips, falls in his face, asks to be helped up. Then they kind of tell each other their stories. Like, oh yeah, you're a devil fruit user, and I'm Gaimon, the keeper of the keeper of the island.
He's just a guy in a box.
He's just a guy stuck in a treasure box. And Luffy says so as much. It has a dumb pun, which I was kind of hoping you read the Japanese version because I'm very curious about Luffy's pun.
I didn't have time this week, like every week. I don't know why I promised I'd do that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You have a ton of work to do, so it's fine. It works. I can't imagine there's definitely another pun here because they're just going for the boxer.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just as dumb in Japanese. That's One Piece at its finest.
Yeah.
I love that he rolls with it. It's like, well, when I was younger, hey, that's a stupid joke.
Exactly. It just endears you a bit more.
Yeah, it's good wholesome fun.
And then you learn that Gaimon has been stuck alone on this island for 20 years in this box.
20 years. Oh, and then of course Luffy's first reaction: "You must be stupid."
I mean, he's not incorrect.
Yeah.
Ready to murder him. But yeah, that's why his hair is so long. He used to have 2 eyebrows. He has the beard, missing
I don't
tooth.
think that's how that works.
And Luffy tries to get him out as soon as he sees him, but he's like, "Yeah, don't do that because I haven't exercised. My body's grown into the shape of this box, and if you break the chest, you'll break me with it." Which basically means he's a crab at this point. And I'm just thinking about that as his body just growing into the shape of this box for how long?
That's horrifying. That's horrifying.
It is. This is straight up body horror stuff. I'm terrified.
But it's hilarious body horror. And now, what I want to know is, how did he shoot Luffy if his hands are like stuck in the box?
They did show when he did shoot Luffy and they chased after him. There was a pistol in front of the box.
Maybe he used his feet.
Yeah, I think he has just enough of his hands out. And I guess he shot it and dropped it because they have the smoking gun, but...
I dislike this the more I think about it.
Yeah.
This makes me uncomfortable.
He's quite odd. I'm pretty sure the anime might show it. I'm not sure. He definitely can grab things, but he just can't reach.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is. It's Gaimon. I'm terrified. Like, I just don't like thinking about it because I'm claustrophobic as it is. So I'm just imagining my arms and legs stuck like that for 20 years. And I'm just like, yeah, I think I'll be using that bullet on myself at this point.
Seriously.
Gaimon used to be a pirate as well and loved risking his life in the pursuit of treasure. And that's when you find out that he has a map of the Grand Line and Luffy's going after One Piece. And it's time to warn about the Grand Line once again.
Yeah, but at least I think this is the first time we get a proper explanation about just the way that the world is, just the geography.
Yeah. This is the important part, because up to this point I'm like, God, this feels like a worthless adventure in retrospect. It kind of still is, but it just feels a little, again, fillerish. It's like,
it's a fun little diversion. It's
good character dynamics between Luffy and Nami a bit more to get them more established, but I don't know. It definitely didn't feel too great. But then we get this wonderful bit about how the world works. And, well, first of all, Luffy and Gaimon can't read maps.
Yeah, I love these. Like, where's the Grand Line? And he's like, I don't know. Can you tell me where it is? And they're both just like, I can't read this.
And I completely forgot about the Red Line.
Yeah.
I only remembered the Grand Line. But yeah, what a weird world this is, where there's only 2 oceans that make up this entire world, with the red line making up the mainland that goes around the entire center of the planet.
It's like a whole continent, basically, like a thin continent wrapped around the entire planet, and then like the Grand Line kind of bisects it.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense why there's so many pirates when there's this much water.
Yeah. This is a fascinating thing to me because, like, despite how long One Piece is and how many locations we actually go to, we actually see very little of this world. Which is crazy to think about because most of it, spoilers, I guess, sorry, most of it does take place on the Grand Line. So you have this little, like, tiny strip of the planet that apparently the entire story takes place within.
Which, it does seem limiting, but it's also, as we look at this map here, you're traveling around the world.
Yeah, basically around the world in 1,030 chapters.
Yeah. Exactly. We got this little narration by Nami that there's a town at the center of the red line, and there's a sea route that cuts through that town and goes around the world, and that's the Grand Line. And I can't remember if it's the town we meet first or meet second.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. On. I don't remember.
I can't remember for the life of me.
Well, I guess there's basically two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we go to both.
I suppose so. It makes it even more impressive that Gold Roger ruled the Grand Line and did all this.
Yeah, he conquered this entire just crazy chunk of the ocean.
Yeah, which basically, if you look at that, it's like, okay, he conquered the ocean. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But we got more build up for the Grand Line where, like, oh yeah, the men who come back are mostly zombies. They've seen terrible things that are just a graveyard. The pirates' graveyards. It is a not so good place to go.
I honestly love this build up.
It makes the Grand Line seem very epic.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time we see it get brought up, it's just like, oh my God, this place is horrifying.
Yeah. It's just kind of the worst, which on one hand I can kind of see it, but on the other hand, Luffy's so unfazed. Like, yeah, it's a fool's dream to go after the One Piece, but I think we'll find it. I'm very lucky. The whole reason that Gaimon has not left his island is because of the hope, and basically we get his backstory of how he fell into the treasure chest, where the pirate crew he was on came to this island thanks to a map and searched for 3 weeks, and they basically gave up until they was like, all right, there's a plateau here, and hey, 5 treasure chests, and I fell.
I want to point out that Gaimon said that he used to have 2 eyebrows before he fell in the chest, but he has 1 eyebrow in the flashback.
Oh my God, I never noticed that.
He's a liar.
He is a liar. He's like, I swear, I'm not usually a unibrow. I swear. Trying to save faith.
It's a fun little detail.
But it is such an appropriately ridiculous backstory where he just falls into an empty treasure chest. He wakes up, he finds out the crew sailed away without him. He's like, all right, it's all mine. And I can't actually climb the cliff because I'm stuck here. And has chased away all the people that actually come to this island because they're pirates looking for treasure. So it's like, nope, I'm not leaving until I get this treasure.
Okay, there's the panel of him holding a gun. I don't like it, but...
How did he get it back in his hand? Because I can't imagine it's easier for him to reach down.
Got to stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Not so good. And then Nami's volunteering to go up on the plateau. It's like, I'll get the treasure for you. It's like, but you're a pirate and a thief. It's like, I'm not heartless. It'll be fine. But yeah, we get Gaimon trusts Luffy. It's all good. We're getting together. It's like, all right, let's go get these treasures and do this whole thing for Gaimon. This is also the point where I realized, like, oh, this is an extra long chapter. For some reason, this is 10 pages longer than usual.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is.
I don't know why, but okay, sure.
You know what? I'll take it not being 2 chapters though.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think this definitely be too much at 2 chapters.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of length, it's basically like a chapter and a half, or yeah.
Yeah, then Luffy goes up to get the treasure chest and then has a hold of one of them and says, "Nope, not giving it to you. I don't want to."
Twist.
And I love how we were just talking about how Luffy doesn't lie, but here he lies.
Well, he does it to make a point.
Mm-hmm. That is true. I wonder if I don't know if I would be intuitive enough to pick up on this if I was Gaimon.
Yeah, this one seems like a little bit of a stretch. I thought while I was reading it.
The fact that Gaimon instantly realizes, like, oh, I trust this kid. He's not lying to me. He's lying to me to protect my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a less better person than Gaimon, but I don't think I'd like you traitor.
I guess I don't understand what the difference would be if you just like, if you threw the treasure chest down and you found out they were empty, it would just be the same thing anyway.
Yeah. I guess it's more about trying to show off more of Luffy's character and kind of generosity, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think
that makes sense, but it is a little odd to me, I thought.
Yeah, it feels like a kind of an empty gesture in a way.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
It's better. The better stuff comes after Gaimon realizes it, where he's like, yeah, it's a good thing we showed up because another 30 years and your whole life would have passed you by.
Yeah, it's disappointing, but he laughs it off. And
even tries to make up for it. It's like, hey, you're joining my crew. And Gaimon says no, and this is the other rare thing, because like, I think Luffy was like, I don't need to push this guy too hard. I don't need him that much, because Luffy gives up on it. He says no.
Yeah, and that's very unusual.
Yeah. Luffy did not stick with it. It just sort of like, all right, sure. It's like, all right, did my my courtesy invite. Let's get out of here.
Yep. Okay.
And yeah, we just get the sort of ending here where it's like, no, I'm going to stay here because I've become quite fond of it. I want to protect the animals because of basically poachers. I'm relieved that there's no treasure. I can just live down my life, and good luck making the world your oyster. And the entire time, Zoro slept through it.
Yeah, he's been sleeping this whole time. Of course.
And then we get two other animals that are just weird combinations. Actually, three others. A giraffe bear, I want to say, panda,
yeah,
and a deer bear, or something like that in the bottom left. I don't know, these weird animal combinations. And yeah, I'll just come out and say it. I'm not a fan of that chapter.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not, it's one chapter, so I can't be super upset at it. But it's just fine. It
is a one-off. The best part about it is learning about the Red Line and Grand Line.
I guess even then, though, I think there are probably better one-offs as we go along.
Probably, I don't know. It's like
I don't remember that many, but
no,
I guess it's basically just a breather before we start the next arc.
True, and each arc does get gradually longer, I believe. I actually, like I said, I've never read this next arc myself in the manga, so I don't know how long it is exactly. I think there's more episodes for this one in the anime than there is for Buggy, but I can't remember.
For sure,
precisely. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to chapter 23, the Dread Captain Usopp.
Here we go.
Yep,
new arc.
I'll be honest, I completely forgot about Usopp. I felt so bad because I'm like,
how could you forget about the greatest liar?
I was thinking the next bit would be the next arc. I'm like, oh right. Oh, that's oh shoot.
Yeah, we need Usopp. We can't leave without him.
Mm-hmm. Basically, they realized like, okay, we're headed towards the Grand Line. We can't sail like this. It's like, oh, and Luffy's like, all right, we need some meat.
Priorities.
Zora's like, oh yeah, we need some booze. It's like, no, we need a ship. So they're like, all right, let's go to this village nearby and see if we can get a proper ship.
I feel like I was going to say that feels like a kind of a stretch, but I guess, in a world that's mostly ocean, I guess most places would have boats.
Right. There's like shipwrights and stuff like that would theoretically have boats to sell. And they did get that money. So I don't know if she'd be willing to part with the money to spend to get them that ship. But theoretically, they do have the money to pay for it. I assume they can get a decent ship for 10 million berries.
Yeah.
Or I guess 9.5 million berries.
Rest in peace to that 0.5 million.
Yeah,
that Luffy left.
All gone. Then we finally meet the Dread Captain Usopp, a village youth who looks out on the wide open sea and decides to scream into the village saying, hey, pirates are coming. They're attacking. Run for your life. And everybody's just sort of like, oh, he's at it again.
The townspeople just, they seem to be very used to this.
Yeah. It's funny. Some of them are just laughing it off, but others are just like pissed.
Yeah. He gets bonked with some kitchen equipment.
and then just like, oh, it's like, oh, here they come.
Yeah,
And he's just laughing his butt off as he runs off.
I'm gonna say the thing that everybody's probably thinking right now, and like, yeah, this is sort of a riff on the classic like Boy Who Cried Wolf kind of story.
Yeah, it definitely is.
There's a lot of that in this story.
Mm-hmm. And I maybe a little bit of Pinocchio that might also involve like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Got the long nose of Usopp.
That is the identifying feature of Usopp's character design. Though it's interesting because his nose rounds out as I think even as soon as like the next arc, or maybe even further along into this story arc. So it's like it's interesting how Oda evolves his drawing style as he gets used to drawing the characters. Because I forgot that like here in his introduction, his nose is like super pointy.
Yeah, pointy and not as long.
Yeah, actually, in some shots it's pretty short.
Yeah.
Like noticeably longer, of course, but still.
It's definitely long.
Yeah, it gets longer and thicker.
I will also say this opening bit here with calling out to the village about pirates coming and him laughing it off doesn't leave the best first impression. I'm like, this guy's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it doesn't. As we'll get to, maybe not in this batch of chapters, so I don't know if I'll say, but I think there are enough interesting twists here on sort of like the classic Boy Who Cried Wolf story to make it interesting.
Yeah, you do learn more about Usopp and how is a good person, but the fact that he's just doing this.
Yeah, what a way to introduce this character.
Yeah, it's just like a little pain in the butt,
Yeah.
But then we got our wonderful 3 boys that are also part of Usopp's crew: Pepper, Carrot, and Onion.
Yep.
Who's always coming over the ridge and saying, some sort of doom is coming, and he's like, the pirates are coming, and like, no, he's like, he's a liar. It's like, oh no, they're sailing the sign with Buggy the Clown, so we're in danger. And Usopp is just gets his second character trait really lined up too much, but it's just like, I'm out of here.
I just remembered that there's a character way later introduced also called Carrot, and it makes me wonder how many characters have repeat names in One Piece, given how many there are.
I don't think I realized that there was another character named Carrot. I mean, it's
way later.
It's been a while. I can't imagine this Carrot. Plus, we have. I mean, you're named Brandon. How many other Brandons you come across?
Hey, you know what? I'm just saying that Carrot is an oddly specific name to have appear twice in a story, and I'm willing to bet that Oda probably just forgot. But it's a funny observation.
It's a simple thing to forget. It's like, all right, that one kid that hung out with Usopp back in the beginning. I'm sure he's pivotal.
Very important, I'm sure.
Yeah, Usopp tries to run off. He's like, if I don't eat, I'll croak. I can't let this happen.
That's also a little bit of a running gag as things go on. One of my favorites with Usopp is sort of like, I have a condition I'll die if I don't do this very specific thing.
For those who not read before, Usopp is a character that kind of grows on you, and I think you even see that within these chapters.
Yeah, he has his detractors, but he's one of my favorites for sure. I think he just makes me laugh. He's very silly.
I'll put it out there. I was an Usopp detractor for a while.
It does take. He has his moments, but it's sort of, what I feel like whenever you have a guy who's like, oh, don't worry, he gets better. It's very easy to like write that off. But Usopp has a lot of moments that I really appreciate.
Yeah, he absolutely does, and even in these chapters. But as soon as he hears there's only 3 pirates, he's like, all right, let's go defend.
Yeah, he was ready to run for the hills, and he's like, okay, time to defend our village against these 3 pirates.
Yes, we can totally take them. I love how Luffy's just continually impressed by the fact that Nami knows how to read a map.
Oh yeah, I was like, wow, there really is an island here.
Yeah,
it's right here on the map.
But yeah, they're just being looked at by the kids, and Zoro, of course, immediately spots them.
Yep. What's with those guys? Guys, he just points right over there.
What's happening here? And then the kids run off, and Usopp, to his credit, just like sticks around.
He rolls with it.
Yeah. He has 80 million men ready to attack. And she just calls him a liar. It's like, no, it's all through me. Yeah, see? Oh, crap, I admitted it.
See, I can't hate this good, clean fun.
Yeah.
This just like, oh no, my disguise. You saw right through me.
This is the moment where it kind of turned around for me. It was like, okay, the goofiness, the annoyance wasn't there anymore. It's like, oh, okay,
he's just goofy. There's just a lot of characters in One Piece who are just like, they're just this goofy.
It's pretty good stuff. And he does get serious because he gets laughed at. And for whatever reason, this sort of puts him on a more serious bend where he's like, I'm a proud man. I'm a proud captain.
Yeah.
And they kind of just hang out together, go to a restaurant. Which, okay.
Fast friends, I suppose.
Yeah. Just down for it. It's like, all right, it just got you involved and learn more about this town. And like, hey, we need a ship. And well, I guess you could go ask the girl at the huge mansion, but she's bedridden. And it goes into a bit about this young girl. And unfortunately, about a year ago, the girl's parents got sick and died. She inherited the mansion. So many servants. She's rich, lives in luxury, but as he says, nobody's more unfortunate than her.
Nami barely does not care.
Yeah, exactly. About hearing this, she's like, nope, let's go find another town. We're not getting a ship here. But they're like, all right, well, I guess we'll take off and look for another one. And Usopp immediately volunteers to be the new captain.
I do love this kind of twist on the formula or on the pattern a little bit, because all the way up to now it's been Luffy who's just like, I like you, join my crew, and they're like, no. They have to sort of be coerced due to the situation, and now here we have Usopp like, hey, I'll join you, but I'm captain, and then they're all three of them are just like, no.
Pass. But it's time to meet this young girl, Miss Kaya. Who does want to see Usopp, but her butler Kalidor, or Klahador, sorry.
Yeah, Klahador.
Klahador.
That's an odd name.
Yeah, it really is. And I forgot, that ends it.
Yeah, that's where the chapter ends.
I'm so used to the long chapter of the last one, it's just like, boom, done.
Yeah, that's it.
Got to see Miss Kaya, which I'm going to, actually, no, I think this is a good panel to quickly discuss this. And I know this is a criticism that's been laid at Oda's feet for a long time.
Oh, yeah?
He has a wide variety of male designs. Not so much on female designs because you can see
they all look like Nami.
Yeah, Nami and Kaya look a lot alike.
Yeah, you sort of have to kind of go by the hairstyle or the context. And I'll be the first to say that like even 1,000 chapters later, sometimes I'm still like, wait, which one is that? Like some of his female characters definitely have like really defining characteristics, but a lot of them are also like just kind of the same face.
Yeah. He goes back to that Nami well a lot. And it's noticeable because Nami's a main character.
Yeah. So I think if you sort of have two or more in the same scene, and there are scenes where there are two or more who are talking to each other or talking, in the same scene. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I have certainly had that problem dozens of times.
It's something we'll probably comment on as we go along.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on to chapter 24, The Lie Rejector. It's time to learn a bit more about Kaya and the rest, but first we got to have the boys actually meet Luffy's group, where they're just sort of still hanging out in this family restaurant. And they're so convinced that like they were eaten. They just kind of roll with it.
Yeah, I do love they're sort of like playing with the fact that these are just like really impressionable kids. So they're just like, oh yeah, we ate him.
Zoro goes for it. They're like, ogres, and then ogress, and looking at Nami. They choose to focus on Nami.
Gotta love Zoro's dedication to the bit.
Oh yeah. Of course, they get over it, and it's like, all right, time for him to go to the mansion and tell her lies, but they're nice lies.
Luffy very, very confused at this, like,
sure. And then we see the mansion and Klahador the butler, and all right, I didn't notice it the first time I ever got to this section and saw Klahador's outfit, but upon re-seeing his design and even now, why does he have large piles of poop on his outfit?
I don't know. And I've read this before. I've seen the anime version of this like a dozen times probably. I've never once thought like this was the first time I noticed that he just has like piles of poop on his like it's like embroidered poop.
Yeah,
I don't
it is
get it's
absolutely
an odd one.
design of poop that Japan typically has. It's just
Yeah.
stacked a little higher.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that one.
I'll forgive the shoes, what looks like slippers, but it's like he has a very strange design.
Yeah, yeah, and he has like the collars like curving outward. I don't know what's going on here, but it's great.
Yeah, it's very striking butler design, and
Yeah,
he's incredibly protective of Kaya. It's not proper for a lady to associate with this guy, this Usopp. He's such a bad influence, and she's just like, you suck. He's just like, his stories are too much stimulus, and your parents entrusted me with your late welfare, so I will watch over you and you'll do as I say, and I don't care if you hate me, but it's for your best interest. So
yeah, I do feel like it's a little bit of a stretch of just like he's basically just coming in to chit chat.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, nope, that's too much for you.
It's like, that's a bad influence. You're so sick that just even the occasional, like, if you have fun, you will die. Like,
yeah,
okay,
sit in bed and don't live your life. That is the only way you'll feel better.
I do have to point out, of course, he has, I think, even now, one of the more interesting character gimmicks where he pushes up his glasses with like the palm of his hand.
Yeah, I'll admit I wear glasses, and for a while I just kind of tried doing that myself to push it up. It's like, it never felt efficient.
It doesn't. There's a reason for it, and I love the reason for it. But yeah, it's such an interesting. It's something that you might not. You're just like, oh, that's weird. But
yeah, it's something you just see, and you're like, well, he's a bit odd. And
yeah, and in the next page, you see him doing it with both hands.
I know. And it ties into those like kind of wacky character traits that a lot of characters have. It's just the first sort of example of that. Yeah. Of like, what? All right, sure.
Yeah, and again, we'll get to it when we get to it. But I love those kinds of character traits that have a purpose behind them. It's something to inform you about the character,
even if you don't realize it at first. But yeah, we get Usopp showing up anyway. And a pretty big difference from the anime threw me off. It's like, oh, she's on the first floor.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because in the anime, he like climbs the tree to talk to her, but he's just kind of he's lounging down against a tree here.
Yeah, and the two are just talking while she's at their bedside, and he's basically TV for her, where he's just telling adventures to her, and she's like telling about like a giant goldfish that he fought that lived in the South Seas. And its poop was so big he thought he landed on an island. Just kind of love how he tells these crass stories and she's just laughing her butt off.
Yeah, and like again, that's sort of that's the way that the story like flips your expectations, because it's like, well, okay, he's running around lying for the whole town, but here he is basically like trying to entertain this sickly girl.
Mm-hmm. And you really, I think this is the defining moment. It's like, yeah, like as Luffy says, hey, he is a nice guy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like he might have had a bit of an annoying introduction, but the way you see him interact with Kaya is genuinely heartwarming.
Yeah.
Although I do like the little sign here that you can kind of see where Clawhador is coming from, because she has like the deep huff breaths. Yeah. Like, she does get that excited over her stories, which could be too much stimulation. So
yeah, oh, that's wholesome.
Yeah, it really is. I also love the boy saying why they like why they like Usopp. He's like, oh, he's a meddler. He's bossy. He's boastful.
So I was like, yeah.
And this is enough for Luffy to be convinced to go ask Kaya for a ship, and he does his usual thing of trying to climb over the fence rather than actually just go through it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised he didn't just like gum rocket over.
Yeah, I guess it's not too high or something like that. But then we get this. Do people just have weird animal style hairstyles in One Piece?
This is the second one,
right? We had Moji before, looking like a bear, and then we have this goat man, butler.
I think he's named Mary.
We don't get a name in this, so I honestly don't know.
I don't remember. We'll see.
But yeah, I love the little details. Like, there was guards posted out, but they're on lunch break, so they didn't have to take care of them at all. They just kind of waltz in.
Yeah, they just walk in. That's great.
They meet up, and he's immediately starts lying. He's like, hey, they're part of my crew. It's like, no, that's not right. And Luffy just straight up asks, like, hey, could you give me a big ship? And then Clawhador shows up and is just like, yeah, you're gonna need to leave, and you know Kaya's in trouble. You need to leave. And Luffy just asks, like, hey, I want a ship. He's like, I can't help you.
No, what are you doing?
I love this subtle, like, Zoro slapping Luffy on the back of the head for asking him.
Yep.
So good. And then we have this face-off kind of between Clawhador and Usopp.
This is where things start to get good.
It is, you just have this, like, real dressing down by Clawhador, where he's like, you're the son of a pirate. I wouldn't put anything past you that you would do. You're probably just being friends with her because you want money. How much do you want? And that definitely upsets Kaya. But Clawhador does not back down. He just calls Usopp trash and saying how his father abandoned him. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, he's going in for the jugular, man. He knows what'll set him off. That clearly upsets Usopp. Telling him to stop bad mouthing his dad.
He's like, hey, lie about it. That's all you do, right? Lie about this. Say he's a merchant, or maybe he's not your real father. And Usopp just straight up punches him. Which, again, I like the framing of this because you get him angry, and you have to turn the page in order to see that punch because it just makes it that much more sudden.
It really does. Yeah, it just it's a great page turner.
And he just uses that as like, see, he's just like his father. His first instinct is violence. So he's just like, nope, I am proud. I'm the son of a pirate. I'll never lie about that heritage. And this sort of sets off a memory for Luffy.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really do appreciate. We're sort of like. Just sort of in these two chapters, we've established that, like, Usopp is a liar, and, he does it for a specific purpose in the case of Kaya, but, he lays down the laws. Like, there's one thing I'll never lie about, and he's proud to be the son of a pirate.
Mm-hmm. It's good character boundaries that
yeah
establishes him more and does make him likable despite the iffy introduction to him. But
yeah, exactly. It's a good way to. It sort of plays with your expectations in that way.
Yeah, it's quite good. And yeah, we get this intrigue. It's like, now what does Luffy remember about this?
Yeah, and that's an interesting place to end the chapter on.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to chapter 25, Lies. And basically just sort of wraps up this confrontation between the two of them. And before Usopp can beat on Clawhador even more, Kaya asks him to stop. And she kind of defends Clawhador because he takes care of him. He's not a bad person. Usopp gets kicked out. He's like, all right, I'm leaving. I'm never coming back. And
I'm going to call out Clawhador in this moment because I feel like he escalated this situation, and that was way more excitement for Kaya than like, I feel like he's kind of the bad guy in this situation.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely is. She's screaming, she's seeing violence, and she's crying seeing all this.
Right. And you're just like, oh, that's, talking to this guy is too much stimulation for you. Meanwhile, I'm over here making the situation a whole lot worse.
I love the kids like Butler, Fool, Dumbbell, and Luffy joins in with Knucklehead.
And he's getting in on it. He's ready to fight.
I love how like Zoro and Nami are kind of like the parents, and Zoro's holding back Luffy, and Nami has the 3 kids.
Oh, it's so good.
And then we have this little interaction once again between Clawhador and Kaya, where she's understandably upset, and Clawhador just kind of giving his motivation.
Yeah,
she is sorry for going behind his back, but you see why he's so dedicated. He came to the state 3 years ago, and he had worked aboard a ship, and they got marooned in this island. But his father took pity on him, or Kaya's father took pity on him, took him in, and just feels super protective because of feeling beholden to that generosity. And he's like, yeah, I know I went too far. I shouldn't interfere. But I don't like the idea of this Usopp having this bad reputation doing anything to him. If he lays a hand on you, I'll fail your father and you. Just
Yeah, and hey, I mean, he's kind of playing it up a little bit, but like, it is at least good enough to see where his head is at in this moment, even if he kind of messed up.
you get his reasoning for it. You kind of get it.
It's a good moment.
It's a little too, you went too far, but it's like, all right. And it's just like, the guy's like, all right, you're a good person. He's a good person. Just don't do this. But as soon as she says that Usopp is a good person, he's like, indeed. Just completely passing it off. And it's like, I don't understand, but that's where it is. The kids and Nami and Zoro just sort of hanging out. And they find out that whenever Usopp gets upset, he goes to the beach, and Luffy probably followed after him. And then Onion comes running up, screaming about a backwards man.
This page is so good.
I love those bottom 3 panels of Django just getting slowly closer as he moonwalks.
Yeah, I love that it's again, it's calling back to the previous chapter where they were also Onion came in, liar, and was actually telling the truth, and then here he comes again, like, there's a strange man headed backwards, liar. Just seeing it play out in those bottom 3 panels as he's moonwalking. Mm-hmm. I love it. Straight
up Michael Jackson. And it works. I don't know why, but just this idea of this guy, this hypnotist, wearing heart glasses, this strange thing on his chin, the moonwalks. It's like, all right. It's like,
Nami sums it up pretty well. You're a little strange.
Yeah, I'm not strange. You're a little strange. And it's like, I show us a trick. It's like, no, I'm not going to perform a trick for you. Well, here you go. Look at the ring. And I love the immediate silliness of this guy. It's like, all right, you'll fall sound asleep when I say Django. Says his name. All 4 of them fall asleep.
Yep, him and the kids. That is what a way to introduce. It's like just an interesting way to use 2 pages to introduce this really just crazy character.
Yeah, it's like new character out of nowhere, not really knowing his deal, just this silly aside, and you kind of just go for it, like go with it. It's like, all right, sure. But then as Usopp is looking out over the sea, Luffy shows up and reveals that he actually knows Usopp's father, Usopp.
I wanted to point this out when we were reading chapter 1, but I held my tongue because I thought this was a really cool twist.
Yeah,
because you see Usopp in chapter 1. He's there.
You go back to chapter 1 and just flip through the pages of the flashbacks with Shanks. Yeah, you will see Usopp. It's cool.
He's there the whole time. Well okay. I guess we jumped ahead a little bit because it's on the next page where he was like, oh yeah, Usopp's he's on Shanks's crew.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. It's like yeah. He's on with Shanks. He's like and Usopp's like, wait, he's with Shanks. He's the great pirate. It's like he's with that famous pirate crew. That is amazing. And you get sort of Usopp's whole deal where he's a great shot. He shoots this apple from super far away. He's like he claims he can shoot the whiskers off an ant at 50 paces.
All right. Sure.
I mean, looking at what Zoro does, sure, I can believe this. Maybe. You kind of get his kind of motivation where he's like talking about like, oh yeah, I have a son about your age. It's like, oh, you're telling me this again. It's like, just tortures Luffy. He's like, you're going to hear about it more because it's hard to be ported for him. But the pirate flag kept calling me.
He abandoned his family. He had no choice.
We had to. It's the only way because the pirate life is for me. I love how this just cheers Usopp right up. He just he is what I thought he was, because you get the sense that he wasn't quite sure. He believes it, but he's also like he doesn't have any proof. But to hear about this, just kind of completely changes his mood. It's like they're both saying how they don't like Klahadore. It's like, and Luffy's asking if they don't want to, if you're never going back to Kaya. It's like I love how he's like, well, if he begs me.
Yeah, this is a really nice bonding moment between these 2 characters, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you get to see the 2 of them hang out. I like the focus on Luffy interacting with these other people and how they sort of react to him.
Yeah. Then
they spot something. They see Klahadore interacting with Django, saying that he needed to keep a low profile. And Django saying, I'm not strange at all.
He was technically keeping a low profile by sleeping on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing suspicious about that. No, not at all.
Not at all.
And that's when they overhear about their plan. Operation Murder Miss Kaya, which I think they need to come up with better code names, but
wow, how obvious.
Yeah.
It sure is convenient that they overheard that, hey guys, we're going to murder Miss Kaya.
Yeah, which is a legit twist. That did throw me off the first time I watched this section.
It's a good twist. I do think that this particular situation is a little bit convenient, but it is a good twist.
Yeah. I can see them meeting at this spot because it is out of the way.
Yeah.
Away from people. There's no reason for Django to go through the middle of the village of the meeting here, but it is what it is. It's a little bit as you say, a little bit convenient, but it does work.
Yeah, I think so.
And leaves for a great cliffhanger because that is it for our 5 chapters.
Yeah,
as we've learned about this plot to apparently murder Miss Kaya despite Klahadore pledging fealty to her and wanting to live up to her father. So I guess we'll find out the reason next time, maybe?
Yeah, it's a good cliffhanger to end on. You'll have to tune in next week to find out what we think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And hear what you all think about it as well. Because we're getting into the good stuff. This is the manga is definitely picking up. It's hit its stride at this point, and
for sure.
I like they're giving more time for each of these arcs to breathe.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this set of 5 chapters?
No, not really. Other than that, the setup is more engaging than I remember it being.
Yes, I agree.
And that might be because I've read this part of the manga once, but I've seen the anime version, like I said, probably half a dozen times, just showing it to other people, trying to get other people into One Piece. And this is sort of like this is kind of the part where things slow down a little bit from my memory, but the manga version of this is we just go right into it, and it's been it's still really engaging.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it's a nice opening character arc for Usopp as we meet him, kind of see his deal, learn a bit about his backstory. And it's quite different from Zoro. This is not a backstory filled with pain. It's just he looks up to his father, despite him being a pirate and being away.
We haven't gotten the full story quite yet.
True. There's definitely still more to learn about all of this. I'm pretty sure we're not finishing this arc next time, so we're just
definitely not.
Get more into it, and again, perhaps learn what's up with Klahadore, what's up with Django, and why they want to murder Kaya.
Yeah.
So, yeah. With that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 21 to 25 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter. Brandon, where can they find you at?
I'm at Brandon Bovia on Twitter. I talk about manga, both related to my job and not, and just games and anime and whatever else I'm into.
Yep. I always say it's a good Twitter. I enjoy seeing what you're talking about, and
it's very humbling. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's like how I kind of keep up with manga news in some ways because again, I don't have the time to read check out all of it. But it's a good time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner. That's DERRICKBITNER to listen to the next episode 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we discuss chapters 26 to 30 of One Piece. Until then, my friends, bye.
Bye-bye.
I am Usopp, leader of the invincible nation of pirates who reign over this island. You stand before a living legend, the most revered pirate who ever lived. I am the great Captain Usopp.